Hey peeps, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing okay today. Here we have skies that are brown and tan and filled with smoke, and nobody's going outside because the air is unhealthy. Today I'm just going to chat with you a little bit, talk a little bit about intuition today, and just a little bit about this and that. And so if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Hit the bell so that you get notified when I have new videos out. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. We'll get started here in just a moment. So yes, it is brown outside. The wildfires that are raging across the west coast over here have sent a huge plume of smoke across Washington and some of the other states. Of course, California is burning. Oregon is burning. Parts of Washington are burning. We do not live near the actual fires, so don't worry about us that way. I'd rather you put your energy towards those who are in danger. But yeah, we do have a sky that is filled with smoke, unhealthy air at this point. We can even see the ash drifting down a little bit. It's bad. It's bad out there, and I urge you, if you can, donate to the Red Cross or the other, fire relief funds, because people are being burned out of their homes, and especially during a pandemic, this is a dangerous time not to have any place to go. So yeah, my thought is with anybody who is near the evacuation zones and anybody who is facing the loss of their home. But better the loss of a home than the loss of your life. You can't replace your loved ones. You can't replace your pets and yourself. It's better to lose things than the people who make up your heart. And on that solemn note, I'm going to turn over to a bit different subject. I wanted to talk a little bit about intuition today because I've been talking about being an intuitive writer. And what I'm going to say today can apply to that, or it can apply to your life in general. Now, intuition, the way I view it and the way I explain it to people, is your subconscious picking up signals, picking up information that you may not notice on a conscious level. And it's trying to alert you to that, whether it be danger, whether it be a good opportunity coming, or whether it be just, urging you to pay attention to your body. So many people ignore the signs that they are presented with, that their subconscious tells them about, and they end up losing out on opportunities. They end up not paying attention to signs and signals that we're warning them of something. And I'm going to use myself as an example. In 2014, I was supposed to attend an RT conference. Actually, no, this was 2013, I believe. So, and there goes my husband. Anyway, so I was supposed to attend a conference, and I didn't want to go. Something inside kept saying, you need to not go to this. It was scheduled for down in New Orleans, and I wanted to see New Orleans, and I'd already paid for the airfare, and I had already paid for the hotel, and we had already mailed down all sorts of stuff that we needed for the conference. So I kept saying, well, I can't afford to cancel. I can't afford to cancel because I put out like $3,000 or $4,000 already on this conference, in promotion, in the attendance fees for myself and my assistant Andrea, in the airfare that we needed to pay for, and just in all the swag that I had bought to take, and miscellaneous. And I was like, I can't afford to not go. I can't afford to listen to my intuition. I didn't know why I was being warned against going, but something kept telling me, don't go, don't go. So a week before we were supposed to go, I was sitting in the living room in one of the armchairs, and I stood up just like I did normally and felt the worst pain in my knee that I have almost ever felt. It hurt so bad I screamed, and I dropped back into the chair, and I was like, what the hell? Caught my breath because it left me breathless, and all of a sudden I was like, oh no, because my knee, the pain had not subsided and it was still hurting. I tried to stand up again. I couldn't put weight on it. The long story short, I torqued my knee somehow. I twisted it so bad, and I had done nothing out of the ordinary in terms of when I stood up. I just stood up like normal, but I hurt it so bad that I couldn't even walk on it. I was hobbling around here on crutches, and I couldn't go to the conference. I had to send Andrea. She got down there, and I scrambled to find people to take over my position on panels and stuff, and I also did what I could to make it up to my fans who were supposed to be there. But my knee has never quite been the same. Now, do I know why I wasn't supposed to go? No, I don't. But I know that if I had listened to my intuition, and if I had canceled, I would not have had all that happen. I would have been all right. I know in my gut, I know that that happened because I wouldn't listen to the warning signs. Now, once again, years ago, I had left my ex and he had moved out. I was still living in the apartment, and I loved that apartment. I didn't want to leave that apartment. It was a nice apartment. It worked for me. But I kept getting the feeling I need to find a new place to live. And I kept ignoring it because I was working full time. I was trying to write. I did not want to spend the time finding and moving to a new place. I really just didn't want to deal with it. So I ignored the warning. It was near Thanksgiving. That week, we had such strong rains, and my apartment was down a ravine, at the bottom of a ravine. And the water poured down the ravine. Now, there was a pump down there that was supposed to pump it away from the apartment. Apparently, the pump stopped working. I got flooded out of my apartment. I looked outside and I saw the water pooling on the sidewalk, and I was like, that's not good. Call my landlord. Tell him I'm a little worried that with the rains we're getting, it might flood my apartment. Oh, no, the pump will take care of it. Right. So about half an hour later, I call him. The water's pooling up, and it's like an inch deep outside. It's reaching the stoop of my, the lip of the door, where the door opens. And he's like, well, I'll come out and look. By the time he got there, I had 6 inches of water in my apartment. I was running around like crazy trying to move things up off the floor that I could pick up and move so they wouldn't get ruined. I lost over $1,000 worth of things that I owned at that point. It ruined my stereo. It ruined my records. Yes, I had vinyl back then. And I ended up having to move. And this time I didn't have the luxury to take my time and look for an apartment. I had to take the first one I could find because I needed to get out of there. All my stuff, a day later, I had people come in to help. All my stuff was sitting in a moving van out front. I was staying with a friend that night because I couldn't go back to my apartment because there was standing water in it. I didn't listen to my intuition, which told me you need to move. I didn't want to listen to it. See what happened? I moved. I moved in a way that I would rather not have moved. So those are just a couple examples of things I've been through when I didn't listen to my intuition. Example, when I did. When Sam asked me to marry him. Because I had been through such a rotten relationship, I was gun shy about the thought of getting married again. I wanted to, kind of, but I also was like, do I really want to get married again? Do I want to take another chance on someone, turning out to be an asshole after I thought they weren't? But my gut, when he asked me, I didn't even hesitate. It's like my intuition, my gut just went, yes, this is right. And I said yes. And 28, it's been almost 28 years that we've been together. 28 years later, we're still together. And it still works. So there's an example when I listened to my intuition over my head and over my heart. My heart was like, I'm scared. My head was like, are you sure about this? You need to think this through. But my intuition was like, yes, just yes. So that's, one example of when it did work. So, intuition, not my head, not my heart. It's the gut voice that says, you need to pay attention. Listen to this. But how can you learn to trust your intuition? How can you learn to pay attention to it more when you're taught not to? Well, one thing I find that helps is if you have a friend who is a very good sounding board, who gives you good advice and not from their own desires and not from just, well, this seems reasonable, so you should do this, or, oh, I really think you should do this. If they really give you solid advice that works time and again, chances are they've got a good instinct about you. When you start having an instinct about something, when you start having a hunch going, I think I'm being told this, go to that friend. Tell them what you think you're hearing, what you think has come up, and see what they think. Because they can validate your own feelings. Or they can point out flaws in, it's like, well, I think you're looking at this through rose-colored glasses, or I think you're looking at this through, a skewed vision because of this and this and this. So if you have a good friend who is really helpful in that manner, the next few times you have an intuitive hunch, run it by them and sort of see if you can get validation on that. If they feel that you are seeing things clearly, you probably are. Number 3, listen to that alarm bell. There is a book out called The Gift of Fear, and it's an important one for anyone who is in the public eye to any degree. But I think it's also good for everybody. It teaches you that innate fear that sometimes comes up, that gut reaction of this is dangerous, be careful, is usually the first one you should listen to. Now, yeah, it's kind of sobering reading, but it also helps you learn to trust that part of you that's warning yourself about people and about situations. I shouldn't walk down that street at night. I shouldn't turn that corner up ahead. I shouldn't go to that party. There's probably some reason why your subconscious is warning you against this. Now, yes, sometimes it's just our own fear of putting ourselves out there. Eventually, you'll be able to discern the difference between those two, and it takes practice. Now, another thing that will help you trust your intuition is look for the times in your life that you've been right. Look back through your life at all the times where you've had a hunch, where you've had a feeling that something was either good or bad, and you followed through, and it proved right. Validate those times, validate those incidents. You need to remind yourself that you have actually done this in the past, and I think we all have. I think we've all had times where we actually knew that there was going to be a ramification, either good or bad, from doing something, and we acted on that, and we Either we're pleasantly surprised that we managed to avoid a bad situation, or we were pleasantly surprised that we actually got into an opportunity that worked. Now, another way that I help hone my intuition is before bedtime, I will think about an issue that I'm facing, and I will ask my subconscious to help me answer the question of what should I do about it. And I will meditate on this for a few minutes before bed. A lot of times I'll wake up knowing the answer. It's like my mind has processed it during the night and told me what I need to hear. Seriously, one of the biggest issues with trusting your intuition is just learning to trust yourself. We are not taught to trust ourselves. We're taught to trust authority. And when you take over the job of being an authority for your own life, it can be daunting and it can be scary, but so often it's actually what you really need to do. You know, it's like if you're going to a doctor and you feel uncomfortable around them over and over again, there's a reason you feel uncomfortable. And it's not necessarily that you just don't want to hear what they have to say. There is usually a reason behind why you feel uncomfortable around people, or why you feel safe around certain people. Learn to differentiate all those different feelings. Instead of just going, well, they're nice, go, well, I feel safe around them because they have never betrayed me. I feel safe around them because they have made wise decisions for themselves. They're not going to pull me into a bad situation. You know, if you can identify why someone makes you feel a certain way, a lot of times it's much easier to trust your intuition when you meet new people. Also, if you read tarot cards, you can always ask the cards, but remember, a lot of times the cards are just showing you what is inside, what your intuition is telling you. I occasionally go to my friends for advice on certain situations, but mostly I have learned that I am my own best advocate. So yeah, try and listen to the voice inside, that gut voice that warns you against things, that tells you this is going to be a great opportunity, that tells you, yeah, this person is actually real. I need to pay attention to what they're talking about because they have some real knowledge back there. Sam and I will be back with another disability video, not this week, but probably next week, and as on a week from Wednesday or so. And next Saturday, I'll be back. And so take care, peeps. Have a wonderful week to come. And in the comments, why don't you leave me a note about times that you have successfully trusted your intuition. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And again, have a wonderful week and a safe week. Bye-bye.